Hello everyone, this is Faye at CSN Chicago News. The 23rd Annual Chicago Black Women's Expo returns to McCormick Place April 7th to 9th, 2017. It's the first stop in its three-city tour, also appearing in Atlanta, Georgia, and Washington, D.C. The Black Women's Expo gives African American women an opportunity to get informed, empowered, and discover the latest trends and products specifically created for them. The Black Women's Expo is presented by Procter & Gamble's My Black is Beautiful in partnership with Walgreens. The BWE offers informative seminars and panel discussions presented by notable local and national speakers and lecturers, educational exhibits and corporate displays, and rousing entertainment. Appliance and electronics retailer H.H. Gregg started its going out of business sales on Saturday, following its bankruptcy protection filing. The company plans to close all of its 220 stores by the end of next month, including in the Chicago area. The company decided to begin liquidating assets after having no luck finding a buyer by its deadline Friday. About 5,000 people will lose their job. A man shot and killed his 22-year-old son after an argument over who would walk a dog escalated into a shootout Sunday morning on Chicago's Far South Side. Officers responded to a call of a person shot at home in the 9100 block of South Woodlawn Avenue at about 8:20 a.m. in the city's Burnside neighborhood. There, they found two men ages 43 and 22 who had shot each other after verbal altercation, authorities said. Chicago police spokesman Anthony Guglielmi tweeted that the fight between the father and son was over who was going to walk a dog, and both men opened fire. They each sustained multiple gunshot wounds and were taken to Advocate Christ Medical Center, where the 22-year-old man was pronounced dead. The older man was listed in critical condition. Two weapons were recovered from the scene, according to police, who continue to investigate. The Chicago Transit Authority plans to add more digital advertising displays across the rail system over the next 2 years. The 130 new digital advertising displays will provide riders with service alerts and information as they generate revenue for the agency. In addition to the new screens, 159 of the 283 existing displays will get upgraded, the CTA said. One new feature will be dedicated space for CTA service information, including train arrival times. The new signs come at no cost to the CTA. Installation is expected to begin this summer and continue through 2018, the agency said. Advertising on the buses, trains, and at the stations generated more than $27 million for the CTA in 2016. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
The new movies in theaters last weekend were no match for the two family films dominating the box office.
Ghost in the Shell plummeted more than 60% from its opening weekend box office, landing in 5th place with $7.4 million. The senior citizen comedy remake Going in Style opened in 4th place with $12.5 million. Smurfs: The Lost Village was the weekend's top new movie, grossing $14 million, nowhere near enough to threaten the top two.
I am telling you, this girl is the one. They must fall in love if we are to be human again. And how can they fall in love if she stays in her room?
Beauty and the Beast stayed in 2nd place. $25 million gave it a staggering $432 million domestic in less than a month.
Babies aren't getting as much love as we used to.
Why?
Behold our mortal enemy.
puppies.
The Boss Baby remained in charge. $26.3 million gave the animated comedy a second straight weekend win and nearly $90 million domestic in 10 days.
Worldwide, Beauty and the Beast has already made $977 million. It's just days from becoming the 29th film all-time to join the billion-dollar club. The Easter mountain bike race was held Sunday on a Sletten beach in Denmark's North Shetland Peninsula. Hundreds of mountain bikers, including former Olympic and world champions, participated in the event. Norwegian bikers garnered the top 3 in men's race. A total of 224 mountain bikers forced their way through the sand on the west coast of Denmark. The race continued into a forest and open land, crossing sand and woods. The 21-kilometer route was selected by Danish government as the best in the small Scandinavian country. The result was a triple win by Norwegian bikers, with last year's winner Torjes Buren Hansen from Oslo finishing at 59 minutes and 45 seconds, only 16 seconds ahead of the runner-up Gabriel Slinger from Svelvik, and 27 seconds ahead of Ondu over by Hansen from Lillehammer.
It's a very fun route with many turns and high speed and lots of fun terrain. They are very good at building the paths here, so it was incredibly fun cycling here.
The women's winner was Sophie Hedberg Pedersen from Denmark, followed by the Norwegian champion Elisabeth Sverm on second place. Top 10 bikers all came in goal within 3 minutes. Former world silver medalist Rune Heidal also participated in the opening of the season.
I've pretty much assembled the small friends that I've been having training session with. It's great to have a collection of them with you when you come from winter to Denmark for this amazing trial. Right now, very fine to get back on the bike again, incredibly nice.
Sletten Beach, and a venue where the biking race is famous for windsurfing, is also a popular holiday destination in Denmark. Hundreds of Somali youth have joined the rest of the world in celebrating the International Day of Support for Development and Peace in the Somali capital, Mogadishu. Colorful celebrations organized by the Benadir Regional Administration and the Ministry of Youth and Sports were held in Mogadishu's Benadir Stadium. The young people took part in a procession celebrating the power of sport in promoting peace and development. The deputy mayor of the region encourages the youth to take up sports, saying it not only has the power to unite and spur development, but also promotes peace and security.
Sport is also important for the youth. That sports taking place in Mogadishu, supporting the peace, supporting the development, supporting also the energy of the youth. When you go now out of the city at around 5 o'clock, the whole city turns into a football field, a soccer field.
Families living with autism gathered with supporters on Sunday in downtown Vancouver to boost awareness and acceptance for neurodevelopment disorder. Lifestyles has the details. Autism is a growing health and a social challenge in Canada and now affects thousands of families across the western Canadian province of British Columbia.
Autism prevalence has grown drastically and it's now affecting 1 in 68 children. Over 11,000 families are impacted in BC alone. So you can understand the need for an event like this one and the need for support.
The Canucks Autism Network is a charity that raises money to help those families with autistic children. The network was launched in 2008 by the co-owner of the Vancouver Canucks, the city's National Hockey League team.
So in 2008, we ran one soccer program and supported about 15 families. Last year, we delivered 496 programs across 62 communities to over 3,000 families living with autism in BC.
The festival has become one of the network's most important fundraisers and is joined by former players of the Vancouver Canucks NHL team, who are beloved by the kids. The organizers expect the festival will raise about $200,000. It's now in its 6th year. All of their fundraising is led by volunteers like Romdo Long, who organized a pub night event to raise money. It was her first time taking part with the organization called CAN.
I was actually a volunteer with CAN, so I was out in the program, and it's just been such an amazing process to see all the work that CAN does for families who really need their support, and so I just felt really compelled to just help them out, because we can only run our programs with the support of fundraisers.
The funds raised at a festival in the BET network help to fund sports, social events, and employment programs for kids and young adults with autism around the province of BC. A lovely assortment of artistic ornaments reflecting the richness of Egyptian heritage is displayed at Egyptian Forum for Classical and Modern Jewelry in Cairo. The forum is organized by the Ministry of Culture and will last until next Tuesday. This year's forum is characterized by the strong presence of craftsmen, as 125 jewelry designers from 18 local governorates were selected to participate. Jewelry industry has a long history in Egypt. The country is trying to encourage such industries which can preserve and revive heritage. Vintage car owners in Egypt had the opportunity to showcase their collections spanning from the 1920s to the 1980s. Cairo's 5th annual classic car meet, which started Friday, welcomed more than 115 vintage cars and thousands of old car lovers and fans.
An amazing collection of old beauties such as Mercedes-Benz, Chevrolet, BMW, Mustangs, Mini Coopers, Beetles, Fords, and so much more lined up in harmony, captivating in the hearts and eyes of visitors. Every car has a story back in history, specifically those that were owned by famous people. At the show, visitors can communicate with the owners and even drive some antique cars by themselves. According to the organizers of the event, they have done much to attract more people to the event that takes place once every year. For visitors, the well-organized open-air exhibition emerged as a great bridge between the past and present.
Turning to Canada, more than 300 high school students from around Metro Vancouver gathered over the weekend at the University of British Columbia for the 35th Annual Greater Vancouver Regional Science Fair.
The Greater Vancouver Regional Science Fair is the annual competition for 10 schools districts in the Lower Mainland, open to over 100,000 students from grades 7 to 12. The fair aims to promote project-based science and encourage youth to conduct research and experimentation in areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
We're here to create conversation with these students. They're meeting other students. They're meeting students that have done this more than once. They're meeting students that have done this once. So it's really a community that we're trying to build. We're trying to foster and develop their interest in science.
A panel of industrial and academic experts are judging the projects and discussing their merits with students. Prizes of gold, silver, and bronze are handed out across different age divisions, with cash and scholarship prizes also being awarded to the top students.
A major theme of the fair is clearly sustainability. Many young minds creating new and natural ways to recycle, create energy, and power the world.
Michael Tse and Sean Yu are 9th grade students from Richmond. They're here presenting their prototype of an all-season power generator. They learned that nearly 1.3 billion people in the world are living without adequate electricity, so they designed the generator that is powered by the natural elements.
Yeah, so pretty much the generator works through using the 3 forces of Mother Nature. So that would be wind, sun, and rain. So as for sun, we would use solar panels to absorb the energy of the sun. And for the wind turbine, we use a vertical axis wind turbine so we can generate electricity in a 360-degree view. And for the water, we just have a simple water collection and generator system.
As designed now, the generator could power a smartphone, but the youngsters say a more efficient design could theoretically help provide clean, safe light to poor households around the world. They started working on the project in October and spent about 2 months building this prototype.
We're trying to target the third world countries, the people living without electricity. So we were thinking of making these into kits so we could just deploy out into these nations and they can just set them up by themselves, stick it outside, and it generates electricity.
Ollie Zhao is a grade 9 student who has created a system that can power a battery with electricity drawn from a tree. His work expands on a study from the University of Washington that discovered that trees and plants do store energy, but didn't find a way to harvest and store the power.
We're eventually going to run out of fossil fuels, and they are very, very carbon heavy. And so that while solar renewable energy is very important because in the future, they are going to be the only parcels available eventually.
About 500 captive-bred Chinese sturgeon were released Saturday into a selection of the Yangtze River in central China's Hubei province. The move aims to increase the wild population of the rare species.
The species, known as aquatic panda, is believed to have lived at the same time as dinosaurs and existed for more than 140 million years. The released sturgeon, aged between 3 and 6 years old, are around 110 centimeters long and weighed 5.5 kilograms on average. This is the 59th release by the Chinese Sturgeon Research Institute of China Three Gorges Corp., which has introduced more than 5 million sturgeon to the wild since the 1980s. The Chinese sturgeon is a critically endangered species native to China. It is listed as a wild animal under top state protection. Due to hydro projects, river traffic, and pollution, the number of wild Chinese sturgeon has fallen from about 1,000 in 1982 to about 50. Wild sturgeon, once mature, usually swim from sea to suitable river areas to lay eggs around mid and later November.
China and Finland have pledged to enhance cooperation in winter sports. A Chinese official says China has a lot to learn from Finland as the Nordic country excels in winter sports.
Liu Chenliang, Vice Director of the Winter Sports Center of the General Administration of Sport of China, said that China should actively make the use of foreign experience to help China's winter sports to achieve rapid development.
Finland has a long culture of winter sports. Finland has 1/3 of the territory in the Arctic Circle, so that the natural conditions are very good for winter sports. We have to learn the culture from them to reinforce the basis of the development of our winter sports.
Liu said China will continue to maintain the advantage sports and to train the top spot notch.
VR, or virtual reality, is a computer technology that replicates an environment, real or imagined, and simulates a user's physical presence and environment to allow for user interaction. VR artificially creates sensory experience, which can include sight, touch, hearing, and smell. It may have been around for decades, but VR has been anything but real for most people. That all may be about to change as the latest batch of VR gadgets and apps make their way to market.
VR stimulates the 3D environment that resembles the real world, usually through a headset or VR glasses. In the minds of the general public, VR is still most closely associated with gaming. At least at Tokyo Game Show, one of the largest game shows in the world, VR technology was taking the spotlight.
Games with VR technologies are most popular now, just like the VR games right behind me. Many students in my school now focus on VR and VR-related courses. Computers, mobile phones, and game devices are using the latest technologies.
Japan is one of the most advanced countries in the gaming industry. Yoshifumi said, with the development of new technologies, more students have chosen game-related majors at school.
This year is called the first year of VR. Everyone says that. The head-mounted displays are sold everywhere. They can offer you a different feel than other devices, as you could feel the world in front of your eyes. It's so real and you can naturally interact with the things in that world. This part is very difficult and the other games can hardly give you this kind of feel.
VR is also introduced to cartoons in China. VR cartoons are three-dimensional, floating in the air. It's an unprecedented way of displaying and appreciating cartoons. New technology is also used in cartoon creation. Creators use nothing but hands to draw a picture and walk in it to and from. So far, various pictures such as the space can be drawn in 3D room.
It stimulates a three-dimensional environment. You can do calligraphy, make a sculpture, or draw cartoons there. It is also possible to create dynamic images like flames and shiny stars. You feel like walking in pictures.
All works can be saved for display for modification. VR is supposed to completely change visual experiences.
Watching 3D movies, you just look at screens, but with VR, you can walk into screens. poor creators now they are still out of what they are creating, while VR can put them into it.
Also in Vancouver, the crowds and lengthy lineups say it all.
Your aiming, your shooting, your movements are captured perfectly by our system, which makes it really a kind of more of a sport than anything else. So being able to move around and people seeing that, it's fun for spectating. It's a overall exciting experience.
After trying out the Wild West shooting game, one gamer said the VR technology has improved a lot since he first started playing it in Vancouver arcades about 15 years ago.
I remember the oldest thing I did was at Palladium here in Metrotown. They had like the virtual like fighting punching game, and it was terrible back then because for me it's like I'm punching but nothing ever registered. So this was actually like it's a lot more realistic and it actually feels like it's very responsive. So yeah, it's gotten way better.
Moreover, you can enjoy relaxation in the system virtual reality. All users need is a headset and a smartphone app to take a short trip into a meditative state whenever they want, wherever they are. They are treated to soothing sounds in a peaceful virtual location.
So people have the ability to go to a tropical beach or a Japanese garden and just take a breather and escape from the everyday.
Then I got transformed into a scene with in the sea, sitting amid the rocks and just looking around, and with some voiceover talking to me about peacefulness and all that kind of stuff. And initially I was just trying to look around and do all that, but then you settle down into it, and it's pretty neat. It's, until somebody knocked on me and said that your time is up, right?
For VR, the next big areas of expansion are expected to be healthcare. In the operating room of the second affiliated hospital of Zhejiang University School of Medicine, a live surgery of cataract extraction and artificial lens implantation was being broadcast. Dozens of doctors watched the whole process of the surgery in a 3D environment equipped with the VR devices.
In such a small diameter, students who just start learning the operation normally cannot understand what is going on. The thickness of the crystal is about 4 or 5 millimeters, so it is extremely hard to operate in a 1 centimeter wide place. After the introduction of the VR technology, the whole surgery is operated in the 3-dimensional setting. So I think it may be really helpful for operation under the microscope in an environment like this in the future.
I think VR provides a good approach for us. It transforms the planar image to a tridimensional one, so we would have a comprehensive assessment and understanding of the concept of space when operating in a narrow area.
At the same time, a new VR device is invented for the diagnosis of glaucoma. It looks like just normal VR glasses. But actually, the glasses can play images to stimulate vision and strap it back, can collect electroencephalogram changes and measure the action in changed brain nervous system in order to detect glaucoma. That is the amazing part.
For example, when we show a flash to a normal person, we can see the response in the brain. If someone has glaucoma, some parts of the eyes are blind, so the response will be different. We can find out which part is blind from the differences.
The current common diagnosis of glaucoma is standard automatic perimetry, or SAP. In medical institutions, a patient has to record the light spots he sees by manual button. In this process, if the patient loses focus or moves ahead, then the result is impaired. Now, this new technology is under clinical trial in the United States. Experts find that it can detect areas where SAP cannot. Electroencephalogram can be used not only for early diagnosis of glaucoma, but also as significant index in disease and pharmacy.
Our method is more sensitive than SAP. Patients with glaucoma can know the medical effect with this method. This is very important. Traditionally, patients can only have 3 tests annually and a large amount of data is needed. It takes patients 1 to 1.5 years averagely to know if the treatment takes effort. We hope that with this device, we can shorten the period to 3 months.
Li Zhan, a VR cameraman, started his business in 2012 at his hometown Nanchang, a city in southeast China.
We should cultivate VR industry for a long way, instead of making quick money. I think the whole industry needs 10 years to develop at least.
VR technology, born as early as 1963, is now ready for industrialization and will approach consumers in form of head-mounted displays in the next stage. Factually, high-tech firms around the world are competing to rush into VR industry. Wang Guoping, professor in the School of Electronics Engineering and Computer Science at Peking University, pointed out that VR can show more possibilities that we can't imagine.
VR is mainly applied in sensory experience today, but in the long run, it should have a role in the sharing of information and knowledge. That would make big difference.
The professor put forward that although the VR tech gains recognition in gaming, media, and online education, it faces difficulties in the industrial application.
Those hardware needs upgrade now. The improvement in software and platform for VR tech is more urgent for developers. Now you can see there are still many problems in battery and connectors, but they can be solved as related technologies such as 5G tech and battery tech development. So the key to the development of VR still lies on the upgrade of software and platform.
Just in China, it's estimated that the VR market was worth $239 million in 2015. The figure is expected to exceed $850 million this year and $8.31 billion by 2020. But industry insiders agree that the VR is not yet a realistic proposition for everyone, even if it is going mainstream worldwide. More than 2 million eyewear VR devices are expected to be sold around the globe this year, 5 times more than last year, but still a very small marketplace. Experts say it will take time for VR technology and its market to evolve.
云天无际，承载梦想。中国南方航空是中国运输飞机最多、航线网络最发达、年客运量最大的航空公司。亚洲第一，全球第3，是南航缔造的业界奇迹。 蓝天壮志情，云海谱华章。